Hello, class. Hello, Soma community. This is Sam, your usual instructor. And today we are going to look at the audio solutions I usually use. I'll go through a few of them that I use from back then, almost 10, 15 years ago. It's the same, never changed. Only maybe new versions pop up and so on and so forth. But let's begin. I'll begin with the wireless solution that I have for your audio. But before I begin, anytime you record a video, don't compromise audio, because most of the time in most projects, the audio is usually more important than the video. Many professionals usually say that you are better off having a bad visual than a bad audio, because the moment you can't hear what someone is saying is a moment that you check out. Your audience will check out very fast if they cannot hear you clearly. If they cannot see you clearly, but you have good sound, they will assume it's a podcast like any radio station and still listen to your channel. So always try and keep your audio very clean, very professional. In some cases, you can compromise if it means you're not producing content. Don't say you will not produce content because you don't have an expensive mic. I would rather you use the on-camera mic and produce your content, because the biggest problem we have in content creation is procrastination and also something we call analysis paralysis, whereby people are overthinking. What are people going to say? Is my sound okay? Is my video okay? What if it's not high quality enough? What if this? What if that? So make sure, don't make an excuse of saying that you are not producing content because you don't have a mic. Go in a quiet room, in a nice padded room, and use the on-camera mic that you have if you don't have any other choice. Then when you start editing, you can play around with the audio in either Audition or even in Adobe Premiere or even CapCut. They have some good programs that can really trick out your sound to sound better. Let's begin with your wireless solution. With my wireless solution, before I went with Rode, I was working with Ceremonic. I'll show a picture right here. And I ended up using Ceremonic microphones for a long time, but I ended up replacing them twice in less than 3 years. And that was not good for me, not good for my pocket. And upon doing some good research, I realized that when I was deciding to purchase the Ceremonic gear, I refused to buy the Rode because it was more expensive. And sometimes you should know that expensive can be cheaper and cheap can be expensive. I ended up buying this wireless mics twice and ended up losing both of them within months. But the moment I bought this Rode mic, I have never had a problem with it. It has better range. It has better battery lifetime. And it is also having a nice small charger box, which is also the storage. Anytime you put this Rode mic here, it gets charged. This charger, also the housing, can charge this mic 3 times before you decide to charge this whole thing altogether. So I found it very good, and the range is amazing, and it has never broken up on me. Plus, I've not had people complaining that it's gone bad on them within a year. But my other mics that I've tried, which are wireless, have let me down. Okay, we have better mics though, like the Sony mics that are more expensive and you can easily plug them on an XLR mixer. Those are more expensive, but also better choices. But if you want to save some money and go with quality, the Rode mic is good. I will leave the link to purchase these mics on the description below. So make sure you do that. It also helps me a little bit. If you buy using my link, I'll make a few dollars. Let's go to the next mic, but before we do that, let's go to the other bag, the other container for the same Rode mic. And it comes with the lav mics. And the lav mics, the reason I love the lav mics by Rode is because you can actually, in many mics, in many cases, these cheaper mics come with a lav mic that you only press in and you can easily pull it out. And sometimes when you're moving in between, say, an interview or a wedding, you can easily unplug the audio from your lav mic, and that will mess up your sound. But the Rode came up with a system whereby it almost adapted the professional level microphones, whereby it comes with this small ring here that actually you can just screw it on the mic like that. And once you screw it on the mic and screw the lower part too, that way both ends can hold onto the mic. Once you screw it in like that, see, even if you pull it, it's not going anywhere. That's a big advantage, big advantage. And of course, you can always plug in your phone. You can always use a phone. There is a regular camera, not adapter, but cable to connect your receiver. And also, it also comes with the phone cable to connect with your phone. It's almost similar like this, but it's a USB, okay? So basically, Rode mic is what I use. Let's go to the next. When I first started, I learned about the Zoom H1 many years ago, and I bought 2 of these. Down the line, I ended up selling one to a friend because I guess I was broke. And these have worked magic for me. They come with the mics up here, and you can record the ambient sound with them if you want. But they also come with a place where you can plug in your lav mic, and they come with a microphone jack, headphone jack. And you can control your sound. You can decide whether it's a WAV format or an MP3 format by just the move of a button here. It has a few controls, basically. This is not a wireless solution. You can either plug it in with a lav mic and put it in your talent's pocket or hide it somewhere, and it will record. And it uses the small micro SD cards right there. And once you have that, and you can power it with a AA battery. Once you have that, you have a good solution. You can have an adapter from 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch, because it has an 1/8 inch port for the lav mic, but you can have an adapter and put in an 1/8 inch cable that adapts to a 1/4 inch or an XLR and plug it to an outlet of a mixer, XLR or 1/4 inch. Once you plug it there, you can record, you can mix your sound on the mixing board and send it to the aux out to this and have very high quality audio. But if you wanted to take it a step further, let's say you're recording something more serious, maybe a very serious event, and the audio has to go into a podcast, or maybe it's a musical and it's a small band, maybe a band of 5 people or 6 people. You have another Zoom option, which is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 channel XLR input Zoom H8. It's a H8. I'm sure there are more that are out, and there is a bigger version that is more professional. But here I'm talking about what I use in professional work and semi-professional too. If you want to shoot movies, of course, don't use this. Use the other version of Zoom that is bigger and has better options and capabilities. But this Zoom is also a podcast platform by itself. You can record your podcast here, and it has effects right in here. The screen is a touch screen. You can record up to 6 channels, but you can record with this other channel up here. And you can always pull this out and buy another interface like this and then plug it in here, and it will end up being 12 channels. That means you have the capability to expand it to 12 channels. If it's 12 channels, it means you can record a guitarist, 3 singers, maybe a drummer, maybe a piano guy. You can record so many things. And once you have this Zoom, you also have the advantage of plugging it into a mixer anytime on an aux out and plug it in here. And it comes with both 1/4 and XLR options. Say if you wanted to connect it to your mixer, you can easily connect it through the XLR cables. And you can use the XLR female to plug it in. So that, and you can also use the 3/4 on at least 2 ports to plug it in. And the sound comes from your mixer or your guitar or your keyboard. Whatever source of sound, it will come through the XLR and into the H8. And it uses the micro SD cards, or it can use the regular large ones. And you can only use up to 32 GB of a card. You can't use any more than 32 GB. I don't know why they made it that way, but 32 GB is good enough, and it's good enough space, even for a whole day kind of recording. So it comes with that option of doing the micro, using an adapter like this, or doing the regular SD card. Another thing it comes with is the headphone jack right there. And you can have let me show you a little secret. I needed to teach it to you later, but I can teach it to you now. Let's say you have plugged this H8 into a mixer like this one. And the mixer has an out XLR, and it's bringing you some sound from here, and it's recording here. Sometimes you may have a camera, maybe a second camera, and you want the video in the camera to have good audio. What you do is grab this transmitter from Rode and connect it with this cable that goes into the camera. But this time, connect this cable to your H8. Once you connect it to your H8, sound comes from the mixer to the H8, or from the keyboard to the H8, or from the speaker to the H8, through in this output here, small output, to this transmitter, goes to this receiver, which is also connected with another cable like this one to your camera. And so you have created two sources of sound. The one that's recording here at 32 bits, which is very quality, and the one that's going to your camera. And there you go. You have secured two sources of audio. Make sure you use monitors to always monitor your sound, because if you lose your sound that's coming from the mixer, it means you also lose your sound that's going into your camera. So make sure you counter check all the time. You have headphones on and make sure the sound is coming in clean. Always have at least 2 or 3 backups whenever you're recording audio. That's why sometimes I will use this with a mixer in a wedding and use this, put it on the talent, and put it on the officiant if it's a wedding. And there I'll have this going to the camera and this going to the SD card. And there I have 2 sources. So the H8 is an amazing source of audio solution. Make sure you invest on this one or something less. It doesn't have to be this complex, especially if you're not doing very, very professional work out there, like doing big documentaries. You can basically use the H1 or the H2 or the 4 if there is any like that. There is much more we could talk about this. You get to power it with the double A's, but 1, 2, 3, 4 double A's. But I usually power it with a power bank. I put it on a stand, connect it to a mixer or a speaker output. Most powered speakers today have an output XLR. You can always trap some sound from there. And if it's coming out mono, you can turn it into stereo when you're editing, especially with Adobe Premiere. You can create a whole podcast with this little machine too. Remember, it's an amazing piece of equipment. I will get you the link below in the description if you want to purchase one. Like I said, if you use my link, I get to benefit a little bit. Another option I use is using regular mics. Regular mics like this one or the regular Shure mics. And I just put an XLR cable like this one to the input here and mix my sound here. This is one of the best way to mix your podcast, to mix any sound, because you have so much control of what is going in your camera. Sometimes you might decide to record different people at the same time and control each sound from each person. That is very crucial when it comes to a mixer like this. It is a big, big help when you use a mixing console like this one. We have bigger ones, like maybe you see the one here. You see, this is a bigger mixing console right here. Same model with this. It's a 16 channel. And we'll also have bigger ones in another room, which are digital. You can use a digital one. If you're recording 40 people, why not use the digital? It is easier. You can record up to 40 people with whatever I have. And having a mixing console is so important because you can always create your own sound. For example, if you are shooting a funeral and they requested for you to include the audio at the burial ground, first of all, you have to have someone get there very fast and set up a little sound system, maybe one speaker system like, I don't have the speaker here, but I have one like EV, 12-inch EV. And then you can use a small mixer like this. That way you are very portable. And then once you use a mixer like this, your helper gets to connect this Zoom to make sure they record all the sound that's coming from the person officiating the funeral, that the mic will go to this mixer, and from this mixer to this, and gets recorded. And also from this you can connect the wireless too. So you have many options. But remember, when you get such a job, you have to charge right. That way you can pay someone else to go and set up for you before you get from the memorial service. Is the same thing as getting from the ceremony in weddings, going to reception. If you need to do something very professional, you give them the job to also make sure your audio is set up early enough so you can send them there in advance. And this is actually it. The other thing I use in terms of audio is, of course, this podcast mics, or mics like this USB mic. The difference between this USB mic and the podcast mic is not only a little quality. The podcast mic I'm using, it's higher quality than this USB mic because of the XLR capability. It transfers a better signal when you use the XLR cables. And this USB one, you plug it into your computer and make sure you have a program like Audacity. It's a recording program which is free. If you download Audacity, plug this guy in your laptop, you can easily record your podcast. And this is a maybe $30 mic. It's not expensive. And they're very crucial when it comes to quick recordings, when it comes to you teaching people how to record, when it comes to you not having a good budget and you want to start up a podcast. You can begin with these USB ones, and they are really easy because your audio goes into your computer immediately. And if you're just doing a podcast without the video, then you just record and edit your audio and post it in your podcast platform. It's an amazing piece of equipment. This is for the podcasts as usual. I use this when we are 4 or 5 of us sometimes. It's good to have at least 3. That way, when you have 3 people doing a podcast, or you have 2 guests plus you, then you have independent microphones. And then this XLR could either go to a mixer like this, or if you are alone, like right now, this XLR is going to an adapter, and it's being adapted from XLR to an 1/8 inch into the camera. And the audio is going straight into the camera and being recorded with the video itself. So I don't have to start editing the audio alone and bringing it back together and syncing it. So that's why I usually use this in cases like this, where I'm doing a podcast by myself. But if we were 2 of us, I would use a mixer and then mix out each person's sound from here to the recorder or to the camera itself. Because you can bring 4 mics to your mixer, then 1 cable, which is a full mix, to your camera. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. This is a Mackie mixer, I believe. I use Mackies a lot. I used to do Yamaha, but when it comes to digital, I'm more of Midas and the X32 Behringer, of course. Basically, my good people, that is what I use for sound. For people who are total beginners, you can, of course, just start off with the wireless, and you can go cheaper than this. You don't have to spend $300-400 buying the rod. I'm sure there are some $100 mics, wireless mics like this, that can work for you because you're not trying to go out of range. You're not trying to do a wedding. So you can find some options. They're not any better quality than this, but they work. You can get those and plug them to your phone. Some of them come with an adapter for the iPhone and the Android, and you just plug it on your phone and put your phone in front of you, record yourself with your phone, and the audio gets to be recorded with the video. And then you use CapCut to edit your video and post it on TikTok through CapCut or on YouTube through CapCut. You see how easy it is to create your own podcast, whether it's video or audio. You don't have an excuse. You don't. So, my good people, I hope you've learned something today. And any questions, you can ask them in the chat. And for my summer students, any problems with whatever we've talked about or any further questions, of course, you have access to me on the phone if you are a member of SOMA. And you can join our SOMA membership for $47 a month. It's a content creation class, and we have so many classes in the online platform, and the link is below. You can always join us there, and by joining us, you'll have access to so many classes about creating content, creating podcasts, about building your YouTube, about business, starting up your small business, your small podcast business, and you will also have accessibility on the phone with me personally. I can always advise you or send you to someone who knows things better than me. Okay? So join SOMA today, School of Media Academia, and let's get to learn together. Thank you.